Hello, and welcome to this special edition of the Toughest Finish Line podcast with me, Jen Dome. We are fast approaching the end of the year, and what a year it's been. I first launched this podcast back in June to share the stories of incredible people who have been through or are still going through some extreme challenges in their lives. However, these people have used their experiences to help them to complete some epic sporting events. So I wanted to take a look back over the year and share just some of the amazing advice that these brilliant people have shared. We're going to start with a lady who survived years of abuse and homelessness throughout her childhood. However, she's gone on to complete multiple Ironman events and has even recently shared her story on a TED Talk, which is now available online. Lisa Oliveira spoke about what exactly resilience means to her. What does the word resilience mean to you?
So there's kind of two categories. Resilience, I feel like everybody has the ability to be resilient.
Yeah.
And then there's the people who have the desire to want to be resilient.
Yeah.
Because to be able to bounce back and push back can be hard. And so it's not unusual for somebody to say, that's just too much for me, and to give in or to give up.
Yeah.
And for me, I not only am able to, as a human being, I want to be resilient. And I've always chose resiliency.
One of the things I've learned when doing this podcast is just how resilient each of the guests have had to be at points in their lives. And I think Lisa summed it up really well there with the fact that everyone can be resilient. But what sets all the guests we've had on the show apart from others is that they've also had the desire. Now, they may not have had that fully all the time, and we've heard how each of them have at times struggled with being resilient, just like we all do. But the thing I've loved is how each guest has shared their advice and strategies of how to get through. And a great example of this was shared by Dr. Sarah Ruggins when she described what has helped her through complex regional pain syndrome and her world record breaking bike ride, cycling from Land's End to John O'Groats and back again.
A concept that's really helped me is the concept of aggressive patience. Because when we're going through challenges, we see where we are and then we see where we want to be, and they are on different planets. And that can be incredibly demotivating. And for me, that made me want to give up because I was like, well, I'm never going to get back to where I was. So I just became depressed and I didn't care about anything. And aggressive patience for me is really just trying to make incredibly small improvements day over day in a way that's motivating to you. So for me, this could be getting to the point where I could hold my toothbrush and brush my teeth by myself. That was a huge achievement for me. But you start stacking these things day by day, and over time, you climb the mountain and you get to where you want to be, but you can't focus on where you want to be. You need to focus on where you are and be aggressively patient in pursuit of progress. But the way to stay motivated during that is by having very small wins day over day that you can say that you achieved, and that narrative builds. So be patient with yourself. Know that progress comes, but it just takes time.
I loved Sarah's concept of aggressive patience, and it's definitely something that I've tried to remember to use when I've found things to be tough. Speaking to all the guests, it's clear that they have all been through incredibly tough times in their lives, and many of them still are having day-to-day battles. And whilst they've fought to keep being resilient and to have that aggressive patience, Dr. Magiosa highlighted how it's also okay to say that things are hard, but it's what action you take next that's important.
I'll be honest with you, if I'm not going to be like, I'm thankful for my chronic illness. I'm sorry, I'm not.
No.
I can't be that person. I'm not thankful. And I think that's okay.
Absolutely.
not be thankful for every bad thing that has happened to you. I think that's such a good mindset to have, and I wish I could be there. But instead, I just try to come from the place of like, what is it you plan to do with this one wild and precious life that you got? This is what you have. This is the lot in life that I was given. And maybe what I plan to do today is I got out of bed and went for a walk. That's what I'm going to do with my one wild and precious life today. And that's something that's better than nothing. That's better than staying in bed. It's better than being, accepting that, a disease is all that I am. So that's what I have that day.
Oh, a great reminder there that it's okay to say when things aren't going to plan or if you're really struggling with something. But you can choose to either stay there or take one step at a time and to celebrate the small wins to help you through. Even if this is sometimes easier said than done, focusing on that one step will help. Up next, I spoke to Amy Edwards, whose story touched a lot of people. Amy has come through multiple suicide attempts and recently completed her first Ironman, showing that anything is possible. Amy shares what advice she would give to someone who may be struggling.
No matter how bad your mind or it feels right now, um, it's only temporary. Like there's always hope. Things can and will change if you want it to. And yeah, just believe in yourself. I think that's the biggest thing.
Now, sometimes we may say we want to do something, but the feelings of imposter syndrome, thinking I'll do that next month, or that you're just not ready often creep in. We were honoured to have the lovely Mike Riley read an excerpt from his new book that highlights how no one is ever ready, that this is okay and shouldn't hold you back.
You're never really fully ready. Start anyway. Waiting for the perfect time to start something big is like waiting for the wind to die down and be on the Ironman World Championship course. It's never going to happen. The key is to act despite uncertainty. We all feel it, and that's okay. But don't let it stop you from beginning. On Ironman race mornings, all I carried with me was uncertainty. Would my words be enough to guide and inspire the athletes chasing their dream? Could I keep the energy alive for 17 hours? Would I stumble? Would I say the wrong thing? Would I lose my voice? But as I greeted athletes in those dark pre-dawn hours, the doubt started to fade. Confidence replaced it. All it took was the first word, the first step, the first positive thought. That's how it is in sport and in life. We're all out here trying to take first steps. And I've never met anyone on the race course or beyond who regretted theirs.
I loved hearing that from Mike Riley. And yes, that self-doubt absolutely may creep in, but everyone feels this. So take that step. Don't be afraid to go for it. And finally, to finish off, Lisa reminds us what to do if you aren't feeling that confident or if sometimes that desire to keep going isn't quite there. But you've just got to have that desire, haven't you? That desire to keep fighting, which is what we started with.
Yeah. And even if you don't have the desire, fake it till you feel it. Just move forward. Just keep going, and it'll kick in because it feels so good when you realize the accomplishment, and that'll motivate you.
I definitely have been doing the whole fake it until you make it with my training, and particularly when things have gotten tough. So a slightly different episode today, but I've loved looking back at just some of the incredible speakers we've had on the podcast and reminding myself that even when things do get hard, there is light at the end of the tunnel and you can get through. I hope you all have a great end to the year, and I'll be back in the new year with some super inspiring stories, so stay tuned for these. Thanks for listening.